Hello, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Tay, and today we are talking about the Life of a Showgirl release party film thing that Taylor released over the weekend. Because I went to see it. I wasn't going to see it because when I read it out, it said like it's the lyric videos, and I was like, it's an hour and a half, right? And I was like, 50 minutes of this is going to be just the lyric videos that she's going to put out on YouTube. And so I was like, I don't know if I really want to go see that. But then the album came out, and I was like, you know what? I do, because I really like the album. Me personally, I know there's like mixed reviews. Me personally, I like the album, and so I wanted to go and learn more about these songs, and I wanted to see the music video. And I'm so glad I did, because her explanations just helped me appreciate a lot of the songs. So I'm going to discuss each song first, like in her explanations, and then talk about the music video at the end. I will say the lyric videos are kind of bad, dare I say. They're on par with her usual lyric videos, but since they're being put into this film that she's putting in theaters, I feel like she should have done a bit more. Like maybe hired animators and done something special. I wasn't expecting her to do this. So it's not like I was disappointed, but it would have been nice, and we know she can afford it, so I'm like, it doesn't really matter. With that being said, I think it was still worthy to have them, because hearing the songs on the movie theater speakers was really good, especially like the bass during Elizabeth Taylor went crazy. Her explanations with the songs I have mixed feelings about, because it's very clear that this was an off-the-cuff thing that she probably did in one take, because she frequently loses track of what she's saying. Like, she'd have to pause, collect her thoughts, and then, like, keep going. And Opalite was pretty bad. She just kind of started repeating herself and talking in circles. And it's clear she didn't rehearse or write down what she was going to say, in my opinion. And on one hand, it's nice to see her being unfiltered, and I appreciate how natural it felt. But on the other hand, like, this is a film you're putting in theaters, so maybe we should have done something a little more rehearsed. And I think it was also hard for her because she clearly didn't want to mention Travis or like anyone very specific by name. So she had to be careful about what she was saying, and I think that kind of tripped her up. So, there are pros and cons of this choice. I'm leaning towards she should have scripted it. Like, that's just my opinion, but I know some people will appreciate how natural it was. But either way, having her explain each song definitely made me appreciate them more or understand them better. I'm not going to talk too much about my feelings about each song, because that's coming at a later time. This is mostly about like just what she said and how I feel about it. So with that being said, let's start. The Fate of Ophelia. This one was interesting because Taylor said it started with Shellback working on the music, and she was going through her list. She has like a thing in her phone of like potential lyrics or just phrases she might want to use. And she saw The Fate of Ophelia, and she just started singing the word Ophelia over the track he was working on. And this is like so magical to me, because this wasn't engineered to be a smash hit or the lead single. It just happened naturally. And I also, her being able to like make the song title and then build the song around it is impressive to me. She explained the song as Ophelia, is a character who kind of gets driven mad by these men who mess with her head and, in Taylor's words, gaslight her. And, like, she gets driven mad and driven to her death, essentially. And, she didn't say this, but it's very clearly a metaphor for how Joe and Maddie probably made her feel. Taylor was like, I want to rewrite another Shakespeare story. And she also said, I know it's cliche to say I love Shakespeare, but I really do. And she was like, I'm so attached to these characters that when they die, it like physically pains her. And I just really liked how she was like, I know it's so cliche to say this, because like at the end of the day, Taylor is just a girl, and she's not, but it was refreshing to see her act so normal and kind of dorky. I appreciated that. Elizabeth Taylor, she said, is a song about anxiety, about whether or not something will last, like her relationship. And it's kind of obvious, but hearing her say it helped something click for me, because the song is very glamorous and intense. It's kind of like Don't Blame Me. So you don't really catch the underlying desperation and fear she has to hold on to like her partner. She said this one started with her writing I'd Cry My Eyes Violet, Elizabeth Taylor, and then again, like her ability to build a song around like one lyric is really magical to me. I can't remember if she said anything else about this song. I don't think she said anything about Elizabeth Taylor specifically and like her reputation. I might be wrong though. She kept a lot of these explanations pretty vague. Opalite, I saw her explain this one on one of those morning shows, and it was like a pretty identical explanation. It was a metaphor about the man-made opal and how you can create your own success and happiness and luck. I think most of us expected this to be about opalites being a cheap imitation of like the real thing. And she always manages to surprise us because this is her kind of saying the opalite is just as valuable or even more valuable than the opal because you had to work for it, which is just a very interesting way of looking at it. Yeah, this song is like pure sunshine. Father figure, again, she kept this pretty vague. I saw someone say she confirmed it was about Scott Borchetta, but I haven't seen that clip yet, if it exists. But she keeps it vague. She says it's about a mentor and mentee, and how these two enter a partnership, and then it turns into like this showdown and like who is gonna win. Her explanation didn't give me much extra insight into this song. It's pretty clear what's happening from the lyrics, but that's not a problem for me because this is already my favorite song. Her explanation for Eldest Daughter, on the other hand, really like made me appreciate it more. I would say I still don't really like it that much, but I have a better understanding, and that kind of changed my feelings towards it a little. She said, when you go about life, especially online, you never want to come across as weak or needy. So, like, if someone hurts you or says something mean, you're not going to open up and say, hey, like, this actually really hurt me. People will call you soft and make fun of you. Like, you can't be vulnerable, so you have to feign having thick skin. And we all dressed up as wolves and we looked fire. I knew the song was saying, like, I'm not as strong as I look, but hearing her talk about how you can't be vulnerable or weak online helped me understand it better, because it's just true, even for us regular people. Like, people online are so mean. Like, if someone disagrees with you or, like, you make a mistake and they, like, correct you, they usually don't do it politely. Like, it's just cool to, like, give someone a read or, like, say something in a really, like, conniving way. Like, that's just kind of how it is online. And like, people don't treat people the same way they do online as in person. Apathy is hot. She's kind of onto something. Again, like, I'm not super fond of this song, but I have a new, like, view of it after seeing the film. Ruin the Friendship. Now, her explanation of this song was kind of a tough watch. She talked about how she was, like, very disciplined and scared to take risks in high school. And looking back, she wishes she had taken more risks. And when you're young, making a mistake feels like the end of the world. But she was like, if I had done this thing, it really would have been fine. And I think this is a really important sentiment. But it's hard to ignore the line in the song about your girlfriend was away, especially when she says, like, I was really disciplined. It makes you connect those things, even though, like, it's a bit more nuanced. Like, in the bridge, Taylor says, like, he and the girlfriend had broken up. So I think the broader message she was trying to say is there are moments I could have risked making things awkward or, like, ruining a relationship, and it would have been all right. And I think this is a really valuable message for people, especially, like, young girls and women, because we're often expected to act properly and, you know, be perfect, kind of. Actually, romantic. This one was interesting because you could tell Taylor felt very awkward about the situation. She said, this song is about finding out you are part of someone else's story through things you've heard from friends or whoever else. And she was basically like that clip of Cynthia in Revo where she's like, I didn't know this was happening.
I didn't know that was happening.
I've seen it, yeah.
You could tell she felt really awkward and, like, confused and, like, put on the spot about whatever went down, which we don't really know. But she was like, in this industry, negative attention is still attention. And at the end of the day, a lot of, like, artists and celebrities, you know, want that attention, even if it's more negative. I do think she was pretending the song is more innocent than it actually is when she was explaining it. But, like, that's classic Taylor, I fear. Wishlist, she said, is about acknowledging and accepting the things that other people want while being like I hope you get that, but I want this thing. This song kind of has an air of superiority to it, in my opinion. Like, you know, she's pointing out these things that people want that kind of seem materialistic or trivial. And then she kind of it seems like she's saying, I'm better than them because I just want love. That's how it comes across. So I do question if she is really being accepting of the things these other people want, like she claimed. But, like, she is friends with rich people, so maybe it is, like, her friends are talking about going on a trip or hoping they win this award or whatever, and she starts kind of spacing out and being like, what do I want? I want, you know, my man. You know, it's like that video of the Epcot ball. It's like, what are you most excited to see? And she's just like, Epcot ball. Like, I just want you.
Who do you think the hottest girl in school is? The Epcot ball? Well, I like Melanie, and not just because she's pretty. I think she's really fun.
To me, it does seem kind of backhanded. I also think it could be her making fun of things she used to want and how now it seems silly, which I kind of talked about in my last video, and I'll talk about more later. So if I give her the benefit of the doubt, maybe she's not actually being backhanded in this song, and maybe she's being, like, satirical. Her explanation for Wood was 20 seconds long of her saying this song is about superstitions, and then as the screen faded to black, she smirked, and I love her for that. Cancelled, I understood this song even without her explanation. I'm so exhausted by the discourse around this song. She said, I will not judge people about rumors, I judge them by their actions, and I won't cut them off unless they prove to me that they are a bad person. Like, I'm not sitting here trying to defend celebrities, but people will judge them very harshly when we don't know them, like, as people. Like, what if someone does something bad, but it was, like, a genuine mistake, and they're actually a really good person, and we'll never know because we don't know them like that. And some situations are, like, worse than others. There's a lot of nuance to it. My issue is that people online speak with certainty about situations that we don't even have all the details about. And people love to spread misinformation about these, like, things. Like, there's no nuance anymore. And so I understand why Taylor put this song out, even if it's kind of tone deaf. If Taylor hangs out with someone, the internet digs up everything about them, and then thousands of think pieces come out about her and what it means that she hung out with this person. Like, that would drive anybody crazy. Again, I'm not trying to defend celebrities. Like, I can acknowledge that Taylor has a lot of privileges in her life, but I just think this is an area where people are, like, not fair to her. But if you think, you know, the song is tone deaf, I understand that too, and I think that's a fair point, but I get why she put the song out. Honey, her explanation of Honey was about what I expected, but it was just really wholesome and made me really happy. Basically, she used to think of the words honey and sweetheart as passive-aggressive because that's how people had used them towards her. But the meaning of those words has been rewritten by someone, Travis, because he's used them in a different way. And I just think it's, like, so magical because she's such a wordsmith, so for someone else to have changed her perspective on words, like, just feels like there's something there that feels very magical. And in my reaction video, I was like, said I'm not super fond of Honey, and, like, it's growing on me, not as much as some of the other ones, but that explanation made me be like, you know what, I'm gonna let her cook. The life of a showgirl, again, you can tell what's happening in this song, but Taylor's explanation of it still added value to it for me. She said, it's about going backstage, and instead of, like, the performer putting on an act, she has a moment of realness with you. And she's like, this life is not glamorous or easy. Like, you do not want this, and you should do literally anything else. And she said a lot of people gave her this warning throughout her career. And she said she wanted Sabrina to be on it because Sabrina is very good at handling criticism and backlash. Like, she's got a mindset that's, like, really good for this career. And when she asked Sabrina, she was like, of course, I've been waiting for you to ask, and why didn't you ask sooner? Which I thought was really cute. I just really love her and Sabrina's relationship, and you can tell Sabrina's music inspired parts of this album, so, like, it's just really sweet. All right, now we must talk about the music video, and I think this might be one of Taylor's best directed projects. I would say All Too Well maybe has it beat. And I might be biased because having the behind the scenes and explanations of like the sets and everything, I think made me appreciate it more, like all the details she put in. The thing about the Midnight's music videos is they're mostly giant Easter eggs, especially Bejeweled and Karma. And I really love the Fortnite music video, but there really isn't a story being told unless you read between the lines. And it also feels very, like, physically empty. I think most of it was filmed in front of a green screen. So I think this music video is stronger because, like, it has a clearer vision. She said it's about being a showgirl through different eras of history. Like, maybe you're posing for a painting back in the 1800s, or then you're a club performer or a stage performer, and in the modern age you might be a pop star. It just felt so refreshing to me, and I appreciate like that they built these real sets and all of the scenes were shot in one take, which is pretty impressive. I'm not good at telling if a video was directed well or not, so I can't really speak towards that, but to me, a good music video keeps you coming back to watch it, and I do keep going back to watch this music video. Alright, so my takeaways from the release party film are that the explanations definitely helped my understanding of the album, especially, like, the songs I wasn't very partial towards, like Eldest Daughter and Honey. And I liked getting to hear the music in a theater and getting to see the music video on the big screen. It just, the experience was definitely worth it for me. I do think she should have practiced the explanations more, and I wish she had done something nicer for the lyric videos, but the tickets were only $12, so I think it was a worthwhile experience. She could have charged like $20 for tickets, if we're being honest, and people still would have gone out in droves, so I think it was a fair price for the experience. Let me know if you saw the release party film and how you felt about it. I'm planning to make a 1 week later video about my thoughts about the album towards the end of this week, so stay tuned for that if you want. And thank you so much for watching. Bye!